tornado report since January 1st going into this event, and now we're just going to add to that.
Add to it. This month has been so active. I mean, we usually don't see things ramp up like this in the month of May, but hey, it can happen. It's hot, it's wet, it's muggy, it's feeling those storms, Wes.
It certainly can happen. No month is immune to a threat of tornadoes, and that goes for us here in the state of Alabama. But we will be talking about some storms coming back. That is the next big thing on top of the heat. It's a hot day out there, and this is the time of year that UV index right now. It is in the 10 to 11 range right now, so I just can't stress enough, you're outdoors working, do not forget that sun protection because you'll end up with a sunburn in a hurry this time of the year. Temperatures right now in the mid 80s, and the heat index still, it's not off the charts just yet, but by Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you're going to notice it. It's going to start to feel incredibly humid, and also that heat index will be rising into the upper 90s. Looks like a new tornado watch going up now. Looks like that includes St. Louis, Springfield area. So the severe weather, it just continues here. These storms are rolling on to the east, but notice how that all stays north of us. But with time, that severe weather threat is going to start working further south. There's actually a rare level 4 out of 5 moderate risk for severe weather that's in play right now across Iowa. But notice that's tonight. We take it into tomorrow, that risk starts to slide further south, but again, still north of us. But as these storms weaken tomorrow night and drop south, I think a couple of leftover showers may try to sneak in to our far northwest areas. We'll have to watch for that. And then as we go into the day on Thursday, the severe threat, it slides a bit further south. But I think on Friday, what's going to happen, we'll see that threat start to slide into our area. See there, and I just kind of highlighted, I think this is where we're going to see a decent chance for some of those scattered storms on Friday, especially after 2 o'clock. Some of those could be strong with some gusty winds, some intense lightning, some hail, but not expecting a major tornado outbreak or anything like what we're seeing north, but just one of those setups. Need to watch the radar and just check in on what's happening there before you head out the door during the afternoon. I still think there's going to be plenty of opportunities. Head out to the lake, head out to the pool for this Memorial Day weekend coming up, but we will see those scattered thunderstorms. I know a lot of folks in town for the SEC baseball tournament. Nice warm evening here. Of course, no rain expected for us tonight, but we will be talking a lot more about the baseball forecast for tomorrow and for the rest of the week. Tania will have that coming up in a few moments. But I want to take you to a live look at, this is from Greenfield, Iowa. So this was that live picture I wanted to bring back and show you here. This is in the southwest corner of that state, and right now there are reports of injuries as crews survey the damage. And a large tornado also leaving significant damage to a wind turbine in that area. This comes as the violent tornado moved between Carbon and Greenfield, Iowa. Multiple wind turbines took a hit, with one catching fire. As you can see there, the other being completely destroyed. This is that same tornado that went through the city of Greenfield. Several confirmed tornado warnings for the state of Iowa today. Tania?
And Wes, this comes as a particularly dangerous situation. A tornado watch was issued for parts of the Midwest today as powerful storms move through the area and, matter of fact, continue to do so. Parts of Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, and western Wisconsin are under watches, and there have been updates to this. But this is as severe weather continues to impact those states. Along with violent tornadoes, the threat for widespread damaging winds and large hail was also possible. This comes as a cold front moves through the country, which brought the unstable atmosphere for storms ahead of the front. More than 4 million people are at risk of severe weather today. And in Missouri, a strong storm knocked down trees in a neighborhood Monday morning. The trees fell and damaged some cars. At one point, the storm knocked out power to 1,700 customers in the neighborhood. This is one neighborhood. Springfield City Utilities has since restored power to most customers, and utilities also reported several scattered outages throughout the city. But in 30 seconds, we take a look at that SEC tournament forecast, as well as continue our discussion on changes to severe weather forecasting. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Tania Michelle with that SEC baseball tournament forecast. It's been ongoing and it is throughout this week. For tomorrow, the game looks great. If you're heading out to the field, you don't need the rain jacket, but it wouldn't hurt to have an umbrella, not for the rain, but for the sun. We'll see partly cloudy skies, a mix of sun and clouds. Highs tomorrow, really hot, guys, upper 80s. So drink your water, wear your sunscreen. We'll see winds tomorrow out of the south, just about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And this is at the Hoover Met Stadium. Not only is the SEC baseball tournament happening tomorrow, but it is Thursday through the rest of this week. We'll continue to give you forecast updates and also a full look at that 7-day forecast as we break down that next chance for rain and storms. Wes?
All right, Tania, I saw Jake a few moments ago, and we need to send some sunscreen over there with Jake to the Hoover Met. Hey, this was part of that same storm system that we've been telling you about today. Look at the hail that this produced in Colorado. Ryan Carty, hey, he's been sending us these daily reports here on Weather Extra, but this is footage out of Yuma, Colorado. He said there was almost a foot of hail accumulation in those areas. Some roadways having it almost a foot deep. Just incredible what those storms were able to produce. You know, you get into that part of the country, the freezing layer is a lot lower, so you'll see a lot of photos like that this time of the year, especially across the upper plains, mid part of the country, and of course out of places like Colorado. But as we continue to talk about the changes in severe weather information, how we consume that information, I was able to speak with Dr. Laura Myers, who does some incredible research looking back on events like April 2011 and Snowmageddon. We've had lots of meetings with Dr. Myers. She's with the University of Alabama, and she talks about how her research on severe weather events have changed the way meteorologists actually deliver weather information. Well, joined now by Dr. Laura Myers with the Business College at the University of Alabama. Dr. Myers, so glad to have you here on Weather Extra today. You've conducted a lot of research after weather disasters, big weather events here in the state of Alabama. And I know specifically one of the events was the Snowmageddon in 2014. And just tell us a little bit about some of the research that was conducted and some of the meetings that took place and things we learned from that.
We've done a lot of research on events here in Alabama. The 2011 tornadoes was probably the biggest, and looking at the weather warning communication process, how we can increase lead time and get information to people so that they know it's meant for them and they'll take the appropriate action. And we've improved that a lot over the years because we've had integrated warning team meetings with all of the partners in the process all over the region and talked about what kind of words do we need to use, what kind of graphics do we need to use, when do we need to use certain types of information. The Snowmageddon event was really interesting because it was a winter weather event, and we're not really used to that sort of thing. And with winter weather, people are like, oh, fun. Well, that was not a fun winter weather event.
Right.
It was a transportation disaster. And so how do you really warn people about something they're not used to, something that they have different expectations about? Because here in Alabama, if we get a little bit of snowfall, it's going to be gone in a few minutes, and
Right.
we're going to be able to go about our business. That one didn't do that. So how do we prepare people for things that they don't expect, they haven't experienced before? And how do we learn from an event like that? And we learned a lot from that.
And again, that's a lot of what you do. And you were talking about 2011 and that tornado outbreaks, which was a generational event for us. Just tell me some of the lessons and some of the interesting findings that you observed when talking to folks after that event, some of the things we learned.
One of the big things that we learned is that that was such a horrific event that it created post-traumatic stress and anxiety in a lot of people. They felt like the subsequent storms would be as bad or worse than the 2011 tornadoes. And so we worked a lot to improve the communication to reduce people's fear. Because if you understand what
Right.
tornadoes do and you understand the warning communication information, you know what to do. You don't have to panic. You don't have to be fearful because you have a plan. And so we worked really hard to help people figure out how's the best way to get the information, have multiple ways to get the information because no one way is the best way. And so we've done a lot of work with that to improve that. And then having that emergency plan. What is your best shelter given where you're at a given point in time?
All right, we're going to have more with Dr. Myers as we continue our discussion. But how about a beach forecast discussion right now? If you're heading down for the weekend right now, rip current risk on the low end. You can see right there temperatures in the 80s, but it looks like a nice forecast going into the Memorial Day weekend. We're going to be talking more about the hurricane season coming up. And also, after the break, we'll have our local weather for the next 7 days. I'm Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. Welcome back into Weather Extra. Meteorologist Matt Daniel joins us now with an updated look at the upcoming hurricane season.
Well, as you know, June 1st is the official beginning of the Atlantic hurricane season, and it normally peaks in the late August, September, into early October. And the forecast, as of now, looks to be a very active hurricane season. Why is that? Well, we were in an El Nino, but now we're starting noticing those temperatures off the coast of South America going into the Pacific. They're starting to cool down, so it's now in that neutral territory, and it is forecast to become a La Nina. And usually when you have a La Nina, that means we have less wind shear, which usually encourages more activity in the Atlantic when it comes to hurricane season. So when it comes to NOAA, this is their outlook for May, June, and July, and odds are very high that we're no longer going to be in an El Nino, but it's going to be in that neutral condition. But then as we go into June, July, and August, as we're getting into the hurricane season, it's about 50-50. We could have a La Nina forming or a weak one, or it could still be in neutral conditions. But then as we go into the peak of the season by August and September, odds are very high, almost 70% chance that we're going to see a La Nina. So with that kind of atmosphere and those conditions, that would pretty much say it's going to be a favorable pattern for hurricanes. The other thing that's concerning is the ocean surface, sea surface temperatures in the Atlantic. So I've highlighted this area in red. This is the tropical region, the main development for tropical systems to form. They usually move off the coast of Africa, move into the central Atlantic, and then they can move into the Caribbean. Well, the temperatures at this point are extremely warm. This is a graphic and data from the University of Miami from Brian McNulty, showing on today that temperatures are pretty much close to where they would be in August 10th. So it is so warm now that it's very comparable to what we would typically see in August when the hurricane season normally ramps up. So with so much warm sea surface temperatures and with a favorable pattern, Colorado State is already forecasting a very active hurricane season. Normally we'll see 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes and 3 major hurricanes. They're forecasting 23 named storms, 11 of those becoming hurricanes. And out of those 11 hurricanes, they're predicting 5 major hurricanes. Why am I telling you this now? Because Thursday, NOAA is going to be putting out their outlook for the hurricane season, and I guarantee you they're probably going to be forecasting a favorable and active hurricane season. But the big question is, where are these storms going to form, and are they going to hit the United States? We'll just have to wait and see, but it's going to be a long season starting June 1st.
All right, great job, Matt. And this is a live look right now from Schooners and Panama City Beach, Florida. And you can see that sunshine there if you're heading down to the beach for the Memorial Day weekend. Looks like over the next few days there is a green flag, so or at least a low rip current risk that will be in effect for the next few days. You'll have to check those beach flags, as you know, on a daily basis. But you can see the sunshine there and certainly some calmer conditions there along the coast. But the weather forecast looks great next several days right on into the Memorial Day weekend. 85 though in Jasper right now. It was a hot day. I noticed earlier we had a temperature here of 88 degrees, but just a few clouds you see there mixing in. We've got a lot of storms north of Alabama, and we'll have some of the leftover clouds off of those storms probably drifting through at times in the flow pattern. Probably see some of those mixing in tomorrow at times, but the temperatures will still manage to rise into the 80s. Let's take it on into the overnight, and by 10 o'clock staying dry down into the 70s there. Nice warm evening, but notice how those storms they're just close by. They're just to the north of us. They don't quite make it in here. Now there's going to be some storms, some stronger storms that push further south tomorrow and into tomorrow evening back into parts of Arkansas, perhaps in northern Mississippi, as you can see there. And there's a chance that as those storms weaken, there may be a shower that might try to sneak in. Notice late tomorrow night, maybe across West Alabama. That's why we have that 20% chance in there on Thursday. Otherwise, most of us will be dry, and actually Thursday we'll see another big rise in those temperatures. Notice 11 o'clock close to 80. We get to Thursday afternoon around 3 o'clock back into the upper 80s, and the heat index is really going to start to kick in here, especially by Friday and Saturday. Again, we're talking Memorial Day weekend. You can see Saturday, Sunday, and Memorial Day. The rain chance here Saturday around 30%. On Sunday it's 60%, but I think that's mostly Sunday night and into Monday. Now check in for updates, but that's based on the data as we put the forecast together today, the timing there, what it looks like. So again, looks like Friday, scattered storms, especially after 2 o'clock. Keep a watch out on the weather app. Some of those may be strong, some gusty winds. I think Saturday we'll enjoy a nice period of dry weather, maybe some isolated afternoon storms, but the model data suggests late Sunday we'll see those rain chances start to ramp up again. I just kind of highlighted, it looks like for most of the area there, a chance that we could see a passing thunderstorm. And then we look at the heat index for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, again 95 degrees plus. So we've got the heat, the humidity, high heat index levels, scattered thunderstorms. It certainly sounds like a summertime forecast. And again, Monday a 40% chance of rain, and actually looks like we'll hold that chance, that more seasonal chance for scattered storms through the middle of next week. So that's the forecast as we look ahead. Those temperatures again, Sunday around 90 degrees, overnight lows close to 70 degrees there during the overnight. But this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, you look at that temperature on the weather app, just know it is going to feel much hotter for this weekend. But the long-term projections, Tania, as we go beyond the 7-day forecast, it certainly looks like the heat, it is here. Summertime weather.
Oh yeah, Wes, I was just looking at the data. A lot of above average days, okay? So get ready. The heat is cranking up and it is coming whether we like it or not. So do your part, stay hydrated, wear your sunscreen. You heard it from me right here. But let's look at that 8 to 14 day rainfall outlook. Before we start talking about the heat, let's talk about the rain, okay? May 29th through June 1st. This is our 8 to 14 day rainfall outlook, and it looks like most of central Alabama could be seeing below average rainfall as we approach the end of May and the start of June, with areas down towards the Gulf and South Alabama with more near average rainfall. So likely a little bit drier towards the coast. As far as our temperatures, 8 to 14 days out, May 29th through June 1st. This is the end of the month, and although it's showing below average temperatures, I do think we're going to be really, really hot, because let's look a little further than that. Look at these temperatures. Notice average is in the low 80s. As we bring in the start of June, we'll see temperatures peaking slightly above that. Mid to upper 80s are going to be around for us as we approach the first half of the month of June, or really that first full week of June. So just keep that in mind. You're going to want to make sure you are staying hydrated, wearing that sunscreen, taking breaks. Those heat index values are going to be going up as well. Let's talk about those rain chances. We approach the beginning of June. It looks like we'll see some rain, first of all. May 27th, close to the end of the month. Temperatures in the 80s, another round of rain and storms. May the 28th. We bring in June with some wet weather around. I paused it here. This is really May 30th and into June 1st. We can see a few showers, but mostly across North Alabama. But we bring in June 1st. It looks like another system's going to try to peek into our area. We may be getting a little bit of wet weather, but it looks like more of that stormy activity seems to stay in like Mississippi and areas to our west. June 2nd, a few showers, maybe a thunderstorm in the mix. We bring in June 3rd with still some more wet weather around. So this is just beyond the 7-day. Keep in mind things can and possibly will change. There's always going to be changes as we look ahead. So stay with us. We'll continue to give you updates and keep you updated right here on First Alert Weather Extra. Don't go anywhere though. We'll be right back after the break.